when the dreams returned, they were no longer distant visions. They felt closer, more deliberate, as if the mind behind them had begun to notice that I was listening. The ocean was still there, stretching endlessly beneath a sky filled with unfamiliar stars. But this time the storm had calmed, and the waters were strangely still. And once again, I heard the voice of H.P. Lovecraft. It did not speak aloud. The words simply appeared in my thoughts, as if my mind were remembering something it had never known before. He told me that what I had seen was only the beginning. The city of Rilia was real, he said, and although the great dreamer still sleeps within its drowned walls, there are those among mankind who have never forgotten its presence. Lovecraft showed me something then. The vision shifted away from the ocean and toward the lands of men. I saw jungles thick with ancient vines, where ruined temples stood hidden beneath centuries of silence. In those ruins, men gathered in the darkness. Their faces were unseen, hidden beneath shadows and strange masks carved with symbols older than language. They spoke a chant in a low and rhythmic tone, a language that did not belong to any civilization I recognized. Yet somehow, I understood it. The words echoed through the dream like distant thunder. Fanglui maluvnaf, Cthulhu Rilia, Wagoanagal, Ftagan. Even in the dream, the sound of those words filled me with a terrible unease. Lovecraft's presence grew stronger beside me. He explained that across the world, there exist small and secret groups who remember the truth. Fragments of ancient cults that have survived the collapse of empires and the passing of centuries. Some live deep in forgotten islands. Some hide in crowded cities where no one notices them. Others exist only as whispers, passed from one generation to the next. All of them wait, because they believe that one day the stars will return to their rightful positions. And when that time comes, Cthulhu will wake. The dream changed again. Now I stood within one of those gatherings. The cultists knelt before a strange idol carved from dark green stone. The statue was grotesque and ancient, a monstrous shape with wings folded behind its back and a face made of writhing tentacles. I knew instantly that it represented the being I had glimpsed beneath the ocean, Cthulhu. The air around the idol seemed heavy, almost alive. Lovecraft told me that the cultists do not worship Cthulhu as a god in the human sense. To them, he is something far greater, an ancient ruler of the earth, a being who existed long before humanity appeared. Their rituals are not meant to summon him. No human ritual could command such a being. Instead, the cultists perform their ceremonies to keep the connection alive, to remain receptive to the dreams that flow outward from the sleeping mind beneath the sea. Lovecraft then said something that unsettled me deeply. He told me that not everyone can hear those dreams. Only certain minds seem capable of receiving them. Artists, dreamers, and sometimes storytellers. For a long moment, the dream grew quiet. The cultists continued their chanting, their voices rising and falling like the tide. Then Lovecraft turned my attention back toward the ocean, far beyond the shores of the world, far below the crushing weight of the sea. Something enormous shifted in its sleep. The waters above it trembled. I felt a pressure in my mind, stronger than before. Not a voice, but an awareness, as if something unimaginably ancient had briefly noticed my presence. Lovecraft's voice returned one final time within the dream. He warned me that knowledge is not without danger. Those who learn too much about the ancient ones often lose their place among ordinary men. But he also said that the truth must survive, and so he asked me to remember the things I had seen, to record them, to tell the story in fragments, just as he once did. Because somewhere beneath the black waters of the Pacific, The city of Rilaya still waits, and in its sunken halls, the great dreamer continues to sleep. But the dreams are spreading, and those who hear them are beginning to awaken.